What's going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I have a video that somebody sent me, and I watched it. I was shocked, confused, amazed, dumbfounded, but in a certain sense, not surprised at all. Anyway, after watching this video, I felt that I had to make some sort of response to it. Again, I don't want to insult this video. I don't want to insult anyone who made this video. But I want to use this video to bring a point across, because sometimes you just come across a video that really just encompasses a certain ideology, a certain thought process, a certain problem, and so we're just going to use this video to bring out some points. Anyway, without further ado, please check out this video and enjoy.
Hergestellt in Amerika, live, an event, Shabbos in Yerushalayim. This is the theme for the event. Give a kick. I'm going to say to the steps in Yerushalayim. I walked up the steps. And this is the welcoming. It's up and do the two Yerushalayim. Spielen, Poitikis, whatever you want to call it. In a bus stop from Melchei Yisroel. Ich komme Melchei Yisroel in Cheskel mit alle Pitchefkis, mit der ganze Vibe. Jetzt also, wir machen das Event. Lass mich was noch ein bisschen, was dit sich inwendig. Welcome to the event of a century. Jetzt also, wenn ihr macht ein Event, Yerushalayim feel Bechlal, any type of event, so wichtig, jede Detail makes a very big difference. Jede Detail, was die siehst du hand, in gewohnen getracht, was vorab, after, also matching the theme, matching the vibe. The famous Zwika, von der famous Yaim Bashamayim, Geschäft in Yerushalayim. Jetzt haben du zugestellt, eine geherige Wine Selection, konntest du halt mir nun, die Nacht, mach Kiddush. Lachaim, wo gaat wel naar gewoon Burberry Gupen.
Oh mein.
En du hast jede station is een andere geschäft. So kommt this is the bakery, this is the bakery Gelitz, the famous Gelitz bakery in Shalaim. It's on jede soort galle wat die kent trachten, is on Vision at Galles. The famous Vision at Galles from Freund bakery, glach do, beautiful, gorgeous. It's on the pitas, lafas, matzes, sourdoughs ook het van de heimische van de Medene. It's on do lachoch, lafa, gilbe. Ik ga even al die nemen. Später I do a famous geschäft, das heißt Yosef Moike Shabbos, fish store. Hast all different types of fish, gefilte fish, all different types of salmon, cochineau, dips, all different types of dips, jede dip, zeitim, olives, etc., etc. The next geschäft, was wir haben do, the famous von Yerushalayim, I do a geschäft, alles so soups, delicious chicken soup for Shabbos, lokshen, kneidlich, reitig, croutons, alles so croutons, crispy, abis, bobis, in Lokshe Kneidlich. The next geschäft is Piccadilly, from the famous Piccadilly in Yerushalayim. Alles all delis, with deli rolls, with cold cuts, fleisch, meat boards, sausages, the ganze Sach. The Lebe, give a kick, the Lebe, the delicious Lebe, the Galle, the coleslaw, the pickles, the ganze Sach, the whole 9 yards. Später, aber it's a Dagula. Dagula is a La Shishi geschäft. Ja, let's check him out for La Shishi. Aber it's alles all La Shishi essen. Kegel carving, all different types of kegel, potato kegel, lokshe kegel, salami kegel, salt and pepper kegel, steizig, crispy nuggets, onion kegel, aanzubrengen, de pizza geen Moshiach. Alle soorten misslich, alle soorten candies, de trikkene, de ich weiß nicht was, de galva, de harte jellies, van de famous pizza geen Moshiach. It's om do baggies, and give a kick. Fangt zich gewoon, kan komen vaak toe met pictures van de venue, wie ze de venue zijn those. It's om do an inspo picture. These are film beëtens al zijn. The floor plan for the venue, the stage, the screens.
Wow.
Jede zaak pickelig als ooit. Ik heb toen mijn wijs pickelig was afgescheen, was wat orderen. There's a vision board, tischtige, flowers, centerpieces, benklig, napkins, menu cards, the vision, the screen setup, jede detail from the event, the vision board. We it's the make concepts, some getting creative, the bus stop concept over here. Some do the signs, the pizza machine.
Wow. Okay, so again, I want to start by saying that I don't want to insult anyone who made this video. I don't want to insult the people who set up this event. I think everyone, again, meant well. People are trying to create something fun and special. And, you know, the giant Chilul Hashem that was obviously created by such an event and future events and this whole concept in total, you know, it was brought about, you know, clearly by accident. The people responsible are shaygig. They're accidental accidental sinners, I would say, because I don't think a spiritually healthy person would be involved in such an event. So, and I'm really not saying that to be insulting towards these people. The situation in America is dire. It's very intense. The lack of spirituality and the lack of spiritual understanding is intense. It's very intense. And people are more confused and lost than very possibly in all of our entire history as the Jewish people. So first off, I just wanted to mention we have in the description of this video, I started laughing pretty hard when I read this, but okay, so join yada yada on this great event on the streets of Yerushalayim. Well, almost. This incredible event took place in none other than Lakewood, New Jersey. Lakewood, New Jersey. For many, it's just as good as Eretz Yisrael. Many people don't know the difference. And the truth is, most people would say it's better than Eretz Yisrael, where the client dreamed of a true Shabbos in Yerushalayim experience. What I find amazing, first of all, is that the client dreamed of a true Shabbos in Yerushalayim experience. He was able to afford this event. It seemed pretty fancy. He was able to afford this, but he couldn't afford a plane ticket to Eretz Yisrael. It was his dream to spend Shabbos in Yerushalayim. So instead of flying to Eretz Yisrael, he made this event. What this video really encompasses is, I think, the ultimate issue in America. Because what is Eretz Yisrael? What is Eretz Yisrael? Eretz Yisrael is, we have many mitzvos that are purely spiritual. Then we have the earth and our bodies and all the gashmis, all the physicality, which is purely physical. But what Eretz Yisrael is Eretz Yisrael is the place. It's what Hashem created in this world to be able to connect the two, to be able to connect ruchnius, holiness, spirituality to the physical world, which is why the mitzvos really only count in Eretz Yisrael, because that is the place where we can be spiritual beings. That is the makom. What this event did, and what really is going on all around in America, is they're taking this spirituality. They're leaving the spiritual aspects of it behind and just pulling out the gashmis, just pulling out the physicality, and they're bringing that to America. What's this event? This event, they've got the shuk. They've got a bunch of Mexicans in Payas. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. They've got Kosel-themed backdrops and everything that's physical about Eretz Yisrael, they brought to this event. And they label it Experience Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, it's called Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh. They took it and they created Yerushalayim Ir HaGashmius, Ir Ha-blatant stupidity. I don't know how to say it in a nice way. This event really encompasses this idea. If you look at in America, they've taken, I'm not saying this doesn't exist to some small extent in Eretz Yisrael, but America, this is like the spitz. This is the top. They've taken everything spiritual and turned it into something physical, while saying with their mouths, no, what we're doing is mitzvahs. No, what we're doing is so holy and spiritual. But if you're watching as a bystander, you actually notice that everything is devoid of spirituality. Or I shouldn't say totally devoid. It's got some spirituality left, but the ikar is the gashmias. People buy lulavim and esrogim. Who in shul is going to have the biggest, fanciest esrog? People make weddings. A wedding, you know how holy a wedding is? Weddings are now, who can make the bigger wedding? Who can shove it in their neighbor's face? Ha! Look at my wedding. Look at how many singers I hired. Look at how much meat and how many sushi platters and how many waiters I have. Look at the fancy whiskey that I served. Every bottle on that table costs $700. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Yeshivos. Whose kids got into a better yeshiva? It doesn't matter if the yeshiva is good for the kid, bad for the kid, right fit. It doesn't matter. What's important about getting a kid into a good yeshiva is, you know which yeshiva my children learn in? Shidduchim. It's not about what your son or daughter wants. It's not about what's actually a good shidduch. It's about connections. What kind of prestigious family is your son marrying into? Shabbos. What kind of meat board did you have by the kiddush? How much did the whiskey cost? You bring some guests to your house for Shabbos? How many different types of sets of cutlery can you use? How much meat is in the cholent? Who bought the most expensive aliyah in shul? Mafter Yonah. You know what I paid for Mafter Yonah? Everything has become about physicality, which is which is why the people in America, they look at Eretz Yisrael as a joke. They look at people who moved to Eretz Yisrael as a joke. They think the whole thing's a... When I was moving to Eretz Yisrael, my neighbors were telling me, "Oh, it's cute you're doing that. Oh, that's fun." I mean, like these words. I mean, like, hey, spirituality is not taken seriously. Spirituality is used to show off, to make money. And I'll tell you the truth. If I was still in America, the election of Mamdani as the mayor of New York, for many are talking about that should be a clear sign to tell the Jewish people to leave. But the truth is, this event, this video, along with many other events, weddings videos that I've been seeing from certain weddings, the extravagance, the insanity going into these simchas, and the size of people's houses, the level of gashmias. But this video itself would probably make me run away from America a lot faster than Mamdani or any of the other things that are taking place. I'll tell you the truth. When I was in America, when I came to Eretz Yisrael 5 years ago, when I made Aliyah, Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem for putting the seichel, for giving me some basic level of logic and understanding that I was able to flee from America and come to the holiest place in the world. So, when I made Aliyah, the truth is I was running away, but I was also running too. I would say it was both. I would say it was more running too. I was trying to come to Eretz Yisrael for spirituality. I was enjoying my life in America, as many are. But the truth is, the main reason I was running away from America was actually this. It was the Gashmis. I was a plumber in America. It got to a point where, as a plumber, you would think a plumber, I wasn't installing kitchens or living rooms or building houses or running events, making weddings. I wasn't a wedding planner, wasn't a caterer. I was a plumber. I installed toilets, sinks, I fixed sewage lines. And you would think that that's like the most basic, simple job where you're not really going to experience anything too gashmias or out of control. But the truth is, I was installing on a daily basis Toto toilets. I don't know if you know what that is. Toto is like the name brand toilet. And as a plumber, I was telling people, a Toto toilet can cost $500, $600, $700. And I was telling people at that point that there were toilets that costed $150. And from my experience as a plumber, I unclog toilets. So I was telling people that the $150 toilet is exactly the same as the Toto toilet. In fact, I probably get more clogs on the Toto toilets than some of the other companies I was dealing with. But I would say 95% of the time, the people didn't hear it. They couldn't have it. They just said they want the Toto toilet. Everyone had their own excuse. But the truth is, it was that name brand. It was the word Toto. Same way people like to wear that little alligator thing on their polo shirts, or the belts with the big, I don't know what these, Armani Exchange. Is that the popular belt? I don't know. So okay, clothing, I can understand, you want to show off, you want to have that name brand shirt or belt, because it's I guess people like to say, "Hey everyone, I'm an absolute idiot and I bought a polo shirt for $100 instead of $10." I don't know. Some people like to do that, but you would think that wouldn't transfer over to something like a toilet, but no, that's not the case. People were insisting on me installing these overly priced Toto toilets because they wanted, I guess, people to know that they spent a fortune on that toilet. I remember one of the jobs that really threw me over was there was a family in Lakewood who hired me to install a faucet in their powder room. The powder room is the downstairs bathroom. They have two bathrooms upstairs, and the powder room is the bathroom that the guests all use. So I was upstairs. The bathrooms upstairs were not in very good condition. This family clearly didn't have tons of money. But they hired me to redo their bathroom, and they gave me a faucet to install. Now, this faucet was, as a plumber, I knew what faucets look like. I understood the brands. This faucet was a brand I never heard of. It was gold. It had fancy handles. And to me, it was clearly extremely expensive. She made it very clear to me that I should use special tools to install it. I shouldn't scratch it in any way. So while I was installing it, I looked online to find how much this faucet costed. And this faucet, if I remember correctly, costed them about $1,200. $1,200 as opposed to a very nice faucet that you can buy for $100, $150 at that time. And of course, where were they installing this faucet? It was in their powder room. The bathrooms upstairs that they actually used as a family, they didn't really care what it looked like. But it was extremely important that their powder room had a $1,200 faucet to show, and obviously a Toto toilet to show off to their friends. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is the level, and this was 5 years ago. Baruch Hashem, I can tell you, I have not left Eretz Yisrael in 5 years. I haven't been back to America, Baruch Hashem, in 5 years. I don't plan on ever going back, God willing. But from the pictures I see, the advertisements I see, what I hear from people, it's gotten much worse than it was when I was there 5 years ago. And when I was there 5 years ago, I couldn't mentally or spiritually handle it anymore. And from what I understand, it got significantly worse. If you look at any magazine, you'll see in America specifically, you'll see that there's. I'm not saying it doesn't exist in Eretz Yisrael, but in America it's 1,000 times worse. You'll see that everything is lined with gold and everything has to look so fancy and intense. And the advertisements are all telling you how you need the best, you must have the best. And the level of physicality, the level of gashmias has gotten to a point where people need to run. You need to run from it. There's no changing it. There's no stopping this. There's no such thing as a clothing store in America anymore. Everything is boutique clothing stores. Everything is fancy. Your 3-year-old who covers himself in his own feces needs to be wearing a pair of pants and a shirt that costs 10 times that of what I'm wearing. And that's become the norm. I know that years ago that was slowly becoming the norm. Now it's, from what I understand, completely the norm. And this is something that should make people very, very scared. People talk against Eretz Yisrael. People talk, if I come to Eretz Yisrael, my kids are going to go off the derech. If I come to Eretz Yisrael, my kids are going to be drafted to the army, and they're going to go off the derech. The chinuch system in Eretz Yisrael is no good. You hear all this nonsense coming from people. I would much rather my kids have a challenging chinuch system. I would much prefer my kids get drafted to the army, into a secular unit. I'd rather them face that challenge than face the challenge of having to grow up in America and experience things like this event that we just watched, and experience what the weddings look like and what the cars look like and what the kitchens look like. You can train a child. You can teach your children to love Hashem. You can teach your children to be able to have the strength in the face of secularism, in the face of these challenges. You can teach your children to be the inspiration, to be the influence, as opposed to the ones being influenced. But I don't think that there's really any training. I don't think there's any way to teach children to look at events such as this, to look at the weddings that are taking place, to look at what's going on with the level of Gashmis. I don't think there's any way to teach children how to spiritually succeed in such an environment, to justify an extreme, extravagant level of physicality, of Gashmias. I don't know. I don't know how the people who made this event aren't just embarrassed. The people making weddings nowadays, the size of people's houses, what people are doing in their kitchens and their dining rooms to show off. I don't know how it's not embarrassing. How are you not embarrassed that you're driving a car that costs 10 times that of a car that you could have been driving that would do the exact same job? How are people not embarrassed to wear shirts and pants with these big logos that scream, instead of paying $100, I paid $500 for the exact same shirt and pants, but I paid all that extra money to get this little symbol. How are people not embarrassed to buy brand name clothing for their little children? People say it's hard to make a living in Eretz Yisrael. It's true. It is harder to make a living in Eretz Yisrael than America, but you spend a fraction, a tiny fraction of what you spend. Besides for the fact that that tuition is basically free in Eretz Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, there's just these standards. They don't exist here. They don't exist. And only after you really come to Eretz Yisrael for a while do you really start, looking back as a viewer, as a bystander. You start looking back into America, and you start feeling embarrassed for your people. I feel pity. I feel a lot of pity for people in America who are stuck in this insanity, in this stupid, ridiculous, immature, physical, selfish mentality. To raise our children in that environment is dangerous. And all I can say is that flee for your lives. Just get on a plane and run out. Just get out of there. Get out of there as fast as you can. Forget about Mamdani. Okay? Forget about the Clintons or the Bidens. Forget about politics. Forget about the Arabs. Forget about all that. Just look at this video. Look at what's going on around. You should be terrified for the spiritual future, the spiritual well-being of the next generation of Jews in America, if there is one. And everybody should just flee. Get out of that completely godforsaken land as fast as humanly possible and come be part of the Geula. I mean, I don't know why people don't want to be part of the Geula. We've been waiting for so many thousands of years for this moment, and now that it's here, it's really so sad to see so many people so confused. Good people, good Jews out there, such confusion. I hope that all you guys share this video, share all the videos with your friends, specifically your friends in America, your family in America. If you live in America, get out of there as fast as humanly possible before it's too late. I mean, it's already too late, but just flee, just run for your lives. Come to the holiest place in the world and live with Hashem and experience what real Kedusha is, experience what living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, experience a real, true life of Ruchnius. Chazak ve'ematz, guys. Chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and courageous to get out of that place and come home. We're waiting for you. Reach out. We'll help in any way we can to get you settled here, to get you started.